Greetings under this beautiful Libra new moon energy. I don't know about you, but I certainly felt a very big shift in the energy yesterday. This new moon is delivering the type of new beginning that you have never had before. And it feels like open road energy, very expansive. And personally, I was called to do a fast yesterday. So I actually didn't eat for like 40 plus hours. It was very easy in the beginning, but towards the end, like last night, I was starting to kind of struggle with it, but it was really good. And I'm just so grateful that I didn't give in to my ego mind and I really surrendered to the process, because it was showing me my own commitment to spirit, like my own commitment to my own new beginning. And at one point when I almost like caved and I almost broke in around dinner time, because that's when it really started to hit hard. Like it wasn't even that I was hungry. Like my sugar dropped and I wasn't feeling very well. But the spirit sent me a message to like push through. So I did. I pushed through, and it was a very empowering moment because it really helped me connect to my own power, and it helped me to connect to my own resilience. Like I realized that when you are willing to give something up in order to appease God, that's when God can really move through you. That's when spirit can really guide you towards clarity and bring you the information that you need, or just bring you the resilience, like help you to build the resilience within yourself that you need in that moment. And fasting is definitely something that I do off and on. Like I kind of do it when I feel called to, when my body is asking me to fast, and just like to take a break from eating. But yesterday's fast was like this, it was like all about surrender. And there was such a powerful message of surrender coming through yesterday. And that's what I really want to talk about and share with you in today's video, because it was just so insightful. It was so helpful to understand what surrender truly means, what it means to surrender to God, what it means to surrender to grace, to a good life. And so I want to break that down a little bit in today's video. And what surrender really truly means is to move from your ego mind into consciousness. It's like healing into consciousness. And the first aspect of surrender is to stop struggling with what is. So if you're struggling or unhappy about anything right now, it is only because you are not accepting what life, what existence itself is bringing you, without resentment, without anger, without fear, without judgment, without blame, resistance, or repression. So when life doesn't support your desires and it brings you pain, sorrow, or lack, it's actually a message from God that you are living from your ego mind, not from consciousness. And it indicates that you need to learn something. This is God's way of like sending you messages and ultimately teaching you something about who you are and about how you are operating. That's what that is reflecting to you. So surrendering to what is not fighting the circumstances that you are in. It is not suppressing your emotions about the circumstances that you are in. Now, on the flip side, when life is bringing you love, happiness, joy, success, that is God's way of saying to you that you are in alignment, that you are living in your consciousness. So in this case, surrendering to what is means that you are not holding back from enjoying and sharing these uplifting and joyful feelings and experiences. Which brings me to my second point, which is, what is it like to actually be in surrender? So surrender happens instantly, the moment that you move from your mind to your heart. So when you let go of any ego desire that life should be any different than what it is right now in this moment for you, then you are in surrender. When you accept success and failure without any attachment to it, then you are in surrender. When you are trusting moment to moment whatever the universe is bringing you, you are in surrender. And from personal experience, I just want to clarify that God gives you and me and everyone else exactly what you need to heal into consciousness. So being in surrender requires strength, wisdom, and fearlessness. no matter what happens in your external world. This means that you don't allow anything external to you, any external situation, circumstance, person, whatever, to mess with your peace. Being in surrender also means that you are choosing to be the master of yourself, your emotions, and your life, instead of being a slave to your reactive ego. Just think of how many times your ego has controlled you, how much it's manipulated you, and how much it has made you buy into fear. In those times, whenever you're in fear, you are not in surrender. You are not in trust. You are completely disconnected from your consciousness, and you are fully in the ego mind. So when you let go of your struggling ego mind and just gracefully accept what life offers you moment by moment, you bring so much peace not only to yourself, but to other people around you and to actually the entire world. I've talked so much about frequency on this channel and how we emit a certain vibration. When you are in the vibration of peace because you're in the vibration of surrender, when you are in that full trust that everything is always going to work out for you, then you're emitting a very powerful frequency of love and acceptance and peace that is literally rippling out to your immediate environment. It is rippling out into the entire world. And it is literally communicating with the unified field that we are all connected to. So now let's look at what prevents you from surrendering. First of all, it is your need to always be right and to be in control. And trust me when I tell you, I know what that's like because I've been there. So an example of like when you need to be right, that's when you're like justifying to yourself and saying to yourself, but this is not fair. And whenever you're in that control energy, that's when you're in this mentality of like, well, if I don't do it, then it's not going to be done right. That's so control. And that was so me for so long. The other thing that prevents you from surrendering is rejecting what life brings you. It's just like not accepting what you're being handed. And like you're fighting it, you're resisting it, you're pushing against it instead of seeing the lesson that is trying to come through from that difficulty, from that struggle, from that challenge. All struggles and unhappiness actually come from rejection. This is something that I've very deeply understood. Anything that I reject or don't accept, anything that I'm not like enjoying or don't want to be experiencing, and like I'm pushing against that experience within myself, like I'm struggling with it, I'm only struggling with it because I'm rejecting it, because I'm not in acceptance of what is. And in that moment, like you're not allowing it to teach you whatever lesson it is trying to teach you. And in most cases, like personally, what I found is that the lesson it usually is trying to teach you is that it's trying to bring awareness to you about what energy you are operating from. Like it's actually revealing to you that you're in your ego mind in that moment and you are not in your consciousness. You're not in your higher self. Another thing that prevents you from surrendering is seeking what your conditioning and your beliefs dictate. So instead of enjoying the life you have, you're looking for like evidence or validation of your beliefs. So for example, this is like believing that your happiness is tied to something outside of you. So common, right? So here's what this sounds like in your mind. I would be a lot happier if I had XYZ, fill in the blank, more money, if I had a partner, if I had a best friend, if I had those shoes, if I had that car, if I had that bigger house, if I had that handbag, like whatever it is. We tell ourselves that we would be happier if we had these external things. And that's nothing more than conditioning, because if you look at social media and people that are, doing these big hauls and stuff, makeup hauls or whatever, I don't know, I don't even watch those, but you see them all over social media and they're portraying this image that like they're so happy now that they have these things, or now that they have like 20 extra purses or like 400 other makeup palettes that they didn't need because they're never going to use. Like we, as a society, I think we perpetuate this so much, this belief that, something outside of us is going to make us happy. And because we don't have it, we can't be happy right now. But that happiness is so fleeting. It's not even real. It's so fake. Because if you're not truly happy on the inside, if you're not in acceptance of what is, it doesn't matter if you get the money or if you get the purse, if you get the shoes, if you get the nice car, you're still not going to be happy because fundamentally You are unhappy within yourself because fundamentally you are not in acceptance of yourself. You are not operating from your consciousness. You are operating from your ego mind. Which brings me to my next point, that the other thing that prevents you from surrendering is identifying with your ego mind, like fully believing the stories that your mind tells you and being like committed to that belief and like not letting that belief go. So when you're identifying with your ego mind, you are not being the observer of it. You are not observing from moment to moment how it is operating. And when you create this separation, because when you're in surrender, you're fully able to observe your ego mind. You're fully able to see the beliefs that it brings forward, the emotions that it connects to those beliefs. And you can say, like, wow, that is so ego. But you can only see that when you are actually in consciousness, when you're actually in your heart space, when you're actually in surrender, because surrender is like this ultimate peace. It's where you make peace with everything and you accept everything as is in your life. And you say, okay, if this is what my external experience is bringing me, then that means there are certain lessons I need to learn here. If I'm not happy with this external experience, then there are certain lessons that I need to learn here about how I'm thinking, how I'm perceiving, where I'm living from, in order to actually shift my external circumstances. And I think one of the hardest things society as a whole, and something that I personally have struggled with a lot, is identifying with my ego mind. Like just really being plugged in and really believing the limitation, the lack, the skewed perception that my ego mind lives in, because it can't live in anything else. The ego mind is absolutely obsessed and committed to living in contraction, to living in fear, to always look for the other shoe to drop. The ego mind is absolutely obsessed with living in survival, with being in judgment of self, other people. Like the ego mind is everything that is void of love. And this is why moving from ego mind to the heart space is what allows you to actually surrender. Another thing that's preventing you from surrendering is being afraid of letting go of your beliefs and your attachments to people, to things, which actually prevents you from receiving all of the abundance that the universe has for you. Because our limited ego mind and our beliefs and our attachments are usually significantly smaller and significantly out of alignment from what the universe actually wants for you, or what the universe actually has for you and wants to deliver. But as long as you stay attached, the universe is like, okay, well, I can't give you the thing you want because you insist on having this, or you insist on being attached to this, and you insist on keeping the beliefs that are keeping you small. Being in fear and insecurity makes it absolutely impossible for you to open up to life, for you to surrender, for you to allow God to work miracles in your life. So another thing that won't allow you to surrender is identifying with the pain and suffering that your desires, that your beliefs, and that your conditioning is causing you to experience. Your fear of the unknown and your worries of survival turn your life into a struggle that inevitably is going to affect your health. It is going to affect what you're manifesting, and it is most definitely going to be affecting your happiness. Which brings me to my fourth point, which is learning to surrender. You cannot think yourself into surrender. You are either in surrender or you are in the mind thinking about it. So to surrender to what is, you have to move your attention and your focus from your mind into your heart space. Because in your heart space is where true wholeness and transcendence lives within you. So I know in my own awakening journey, like for me to learn to move into surrender fully, I had to develop courage and really trust God to provide for me everything that I actually need. I had to fully surrender to God's plan for my life and trust that I will be taken care of no matter what. And I know, because from personal experience, I've moved through this cycle so many times that everything that I have ever needed in my life in any given moment was always provided for me. And sometimes what you think you need is not what you need. So learning to surrender really means that you accept that whatever difficulty you are facing in the moment is exactly what you need to be facing, because there's something very important that you need to learn from that difficulty. And it always connects to our self-development. Like the challenges and difficulties always redirect us to something that is out of balance within us. And a profound way to understand God is through accepting whatever lessons you are being given in your life in any given moment. Because whether you're experiencing success or failure, poverty or riches, pain or happiness, the universe is always giving you exactly what you need to heal into consciousness, to move into your most conscious state. So God only creates situations for you that help you know your true self, that help you connect to your power, that help you gain wisdom, compassion, and understanding. So that being said, the fifth and final point is about the power of God and the power of surrender. So something I want to clarify about God, because I think a lot of people misunderstand God, spirit, source, universe, however you want to call it. God is both light and darkness. Okay, we only have one creator, and that one creator has created everything, including darkness. So essentially, God is giving you the experience of both light and dark. And we all come here to experience this duality. You are living your current life right now to experience this duality. And because God is so unconditionally loving and wants nothing but the best for you and wants nothing more than for you to grow, to become more resilient, to move into surrender, to become more conscious, God is never going to fulfill any desires that you have that are not in your best interest. And sometimes we're like little kids, aren't we? Like we'll sit there and we pout and it's like, why isn't this coming in? And why isn't this happening? And why am I not getting what I want? But the reason why you're not getting what you want is because that thing that you want is not in your best interest to have in that moment. It doesn't mean it won't be later, but in that moment, it's not. And a desire is usually not in your best interest when you haven't learned the prerequisites that are required for you to actually receive that desire and for you to also be able to maintain and hold on to it. So let me give you a few examples to help you understand what I'm saying here. So for example, if you want a loving partner, but you haven't learned how to love yourself, how to heal yourself first, then that desire of wanting a loving partner isn't going to come into your experience. You are going to attract exactly what you are, the level of consciousness that you are at. So if you haven't learned to love yourself, you're going to attract a mate who also isn't going to be able to love you in the way that you would like them to, because you haven't done that inner work, because that's not the energy that you are putting out. Remember, our energy is always attracting who we are, not what we want. Another example would be like if you want to be rich, but you haven't healed your relationship with money, and you have like all these like limiting beliefs about money and like scarcity mindset and like poverty consciousness, then guess what? Your desire of having money, no matter how broke you are and how desperate you are, is not going to attract money. God is going to be like, no, you haven't done the work. You haven't understood how to call money in through your vibration. You haven't understood that when you feel fulfilled without the money, then the money comes because you are fulfilled and whole and you are in an energy of love and happiness and joy. And then that energy that you are in and embodying is what actually calls it in to your experience. Or for example, people that want a healthy body or are complaining that they're not healthy or always talking about illness or always talking about not feeling well. Well, those people are not going to experience health because they haven't actually learned how to take care of their body. They haven't actually learned to love their body, to give their body what their body needs. nutritionally, in terms of rest, in terms of vitamins and minerals and self-care practices. Like, you can't expect your body to be healthy if you're not going to learn how to take care of it. And if you're not listening to your body when your body is speaking, just the way like my body was telling me to fast, to take a break from consuming and like to not put anything in, like basically my vessel was saying to open up, let everything open up and let everything flow freely. And me honoring that message that I received from my body and doing this 40-hour fast has allowed me to move into a higher vibration. I feel like it was also about detoxification and releasing and like letting go of my attachment to food, which automatically moved me into a state of surrender. Or like another example would be like somebody that wants to be happy, but they haven't invested in taming their ego mind. They haven't taken the time to learn about how to move out of the ego mind, how to stop perpetuating certain beliefs or certain thoughts and certain feelings. It's like you're not going to achieve that happiness. You're not going to be able to experience that happiness if you haven't taken the time out to look at what is getting in the way of it in the first place. And something that I learned over my ascension journey is that pain and suffering is not meant to be avoided. It is not meant to be pushed down or ignored or suppressed. It is a teacher. It is bringing incredible wisdom, humility, and compassion. It is showing you how you are out of alignment within your mind, within your thoughts, within your feelings, within your actions. And pain and suffering also shows you how you are not in surrender. So when you allow yourself to stop fighting what is and instead surrender to it, you end your ego's struggle to survive. And you come into alignment not only with yourself, but with the universe, with God. This immediately opens your heart and it transforms or transmutes your vulnerability to strength and your judgments into compassion. So through your attachment to struggle and denial, you are strengthening your ego mind. This is going to keep you looping in a very closed off energy, in frustration, in depression. It's just going to keep you closed off from allowing anything to come in. But through acceptance and surrender, you strengthen your heart and you actually open yourself up. You're opening your energy up to allow the universe to bring you all kinds of miraculous solutions, all kinds of opportunities that you never could have seen or even thought of while you were in your ego mind. So in closing, I just want to remind you that surrender helps you to leave behind fear, ignorance, anger, grief, judgment, and it helps you find authentic humility and true faith in God. So I felt it was really important to deliver this message under this new moon energy because new moon in Libra is all about balance. And I came to realize that you just can't have balance without surrender. If you are not able to surrender, and if you are not able to make peace with where you are in this moment, if you are not looking for the lessons that whatever thing you're frustrated about is trying to teach you right now, about your personal power, about how you look at things, about the limitations that you still believe in, like if you're not able to do that, you're going to stay stuck. And this new moon in Libra wants to liberate you. It wants to free you. It's like the universe is asking us all to surrender, because in surrender, we're truly out of the mind and we are in the heart. And when you are in your heart, you are going to call in so much more blessings, so many more opportunities and love and fulfillment into your life than you ever could living from your ego and living from that constriction. So I'm encouraging you to give yourself permission to do that. Give yourself permission to experience surrender.